की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतश्मद शिल भक्तिवेदांत महाराज शिल गुरुदेव की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतश्मद शिल भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतश्मद शिल भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतश्मद शिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शतश्मद शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत शिल गोक्षर स्वामी महाराज की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्ट शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाए। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाए। श्री रूप गौरिया गुरु वर्ग की जाए। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल पद दास रघुनाथ साधु गोसाई प्रभु की जाए। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाए। नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाए। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाए। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाए। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाए। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाए। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाए। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाए। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाए। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाए। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाए। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाए। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए। श्रीनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रयेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत्सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्ताविहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam Jase Shri Mataji, Rup Manjari Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Ganga Didi, and Sharma. I don't know. Wait, yeah, anyways, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranams. Oh, and Champak Dasi, Dandavat Pranams, Champak Didiyam. Haribo. All right. So let's see. Yesterday we read about the 6 islands of Bhumandal. After describing the Varshas of Jambudvip in detail, Shukadeva Goswami begins to explain the Varshas of the remaining 6 dvipas. So, as we've learned, within Bhumandal there are 6 dvips, 6 islands, and they all are like circles around each other, the islands, like a lotus flower. And Jambudvip is in the very middle. And so, yeah, we went in detail through Jambudvip, all the different varshas. One second. Let's just look at it really quick. Come on, open up. No, even further back. 16, 17. Okay. So we went through this description of Jambudvip. There's Jambudvip. And these are all the varshas. In the middle is Ilavrita Varsha, and it's surrounded by Mount, we went through all this in detail. And then on the sides is Ketumala Varsha, Bhadrashva Varsha, Ramyaka Varsha, Hiranmaya Varsha, like that. And Mount Sumeru in the middle. Yeah, we went through all this in detail. So, and then now surrounding, that's Ilavrita Varsha in detail, but yeah, surrounding this Jambudvip, now it is, are these 6 other islands. And here they are. So this middle part is Jambudvip, and then that's surrounded by saltwater ocean. Then there is Plakshadweep, and on Plakshadweep there are 7 mountains with rivers. And anyways, you went through this last time. And then there's a sugarcane juice ocean surrounding that. And then around that is Shamali Dweep with another 7 mountains, and then that's surrounded by a liquor ocean. And let's see. And we read the islands with the oceans that surround it, the rulers of the mountains, of the 7 mountains and rivers on each, the 7 rulers on each of these islands, which are the sons of Priyavrata. And yeah, they each had 7 sons. Each of Priyavrata's sons had 7 sons, and they gave each one of those mountains to one of their sons. And but the last island, Pushkardweep, has only 2 mountains and rivers, and he also has only 2 sons. And we also read, so we read the names of the 7 mountains on each, and the names of the 7 rivers. And on each of these islands, there are 4 castes. Like we have, what is it? Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahman. So on each of these islands, they have their own castes, Hangsas, Patangas, like that. And on each of these 7 islands, there is a special tree, and then we have the prayer to the deity of the island. So on Plakshadweep, there's a prayer to the deity Suryadev. On Shamalidweep, there's a prayer to Soma, the moon. And on Kushadweep, there's a prayer to Agni. And to Kronchadweep, so we read all those. And then, what was after that? Let's see. Come on, zoom in. What the heck? It's not working. That's strange. Okay. Then Manasotara mountain is in the middle of Pushkardweep, and it acts as the boundary between the inner and outer parts of the island. Let's see, there's a chart here. Where's Manasotara? Oh, I need to make this. Shoot. I don't know how to make this go sideways. That's annoying. But anyhow, there is Manasotara mountain there. So as you can see, this is Jambudweep, and then what was out? Jambudweep, Plakshadweep, Shamalidweep, Kushadweep, Kronchadweep, Shakadweep, and Pushkardweep. So these are the 7 islands, and they're each surrounded by a different kind of ocean. There's the saltwater ocean. There's I forgot what all the oceans were. But anyways, then, so it keeps on going out like that until finally, outside of the last island, there's Pushkardweep, which is surrounded by, is it a milk ocean? I can't remember. But then there's the mountain of Manasotara, which is these mountains here. All right, and then, oh God, okay. On that mountain, in 4 directions, are the residential quarters of demigods. On the east side is Devadhani, the abode of Indra. On the south side is the abode of Yamaraj, Samayami. On the west side is Nimlochani, the abode of Varuna. And on the north is Vibhavari, the abode of the moon. The wheel of the chariot of the sun god goes around Mount Sumeru in 1 year and travels on top of Manasotara mountain. Its northern and southern courses are called the day and night of the demigods, which for us is 6 months and 6 months. Okay. The distance from the center of Mount Sumeru to its middle point is, what is that? Oh God, I can't remember what NY stands for. Sorry about that. Then Shukadev Goswami now describes the remaining land of Bhumandal beyond the 7 dweeps. Okay, so then beyond that is, anyways, we'll read it here. Sorry guys. So Loka mountain surrounds that area beyond the ocean of sweet water and divides the countries that are full of sunlight from those not lit by the sun. The golden land is a tract of land between the ocean of sweet water and Loka mountain. It is as broad as the area between the middle of Mount Sumeru and the middle of Manasotara mountain. Its surface is like a mirror, and any object dropped there cannot be seen again. Therefore, all living entities have abandoned this place. It stands between the land inhabited by living entities and uninhabited lands and separates them. Thus it is celebrated as Loka. It extends to the top of the 3 worlds, and in height and in all 8 directions. Oh wow. Thus, by the Lord's supreme will, it functions as the outer border of the 3 worlds. The rays of the sun, stars, and other luminaries spread throughout the 3 worlds, but cannot spread beyond the boundaries of Loka. All right, so let's see. Where is Loka Loka? So I guess that is Loka Loka, right? These mountains on the very edge there. And there, that golden area is the golden land where nobody lives, which acts like a mirror. Nobody can see that. There's this sweetwater ocean. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's continue on. And there, Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of the entire universe, established the four elephants: Rishabha, Pushkarachuda, Vamana, and Aparajita in the four directions. They are responsible for supporting the universe. So I guess there's four elephants. One there, one there, one there, and one there. At the very edge. The Supreme Lord, surrounded by associates such as Vishvaksena and exhibiting all his opulences, remains on Loka Loka mountain until the end of the Kalpa. By his presence, he increases the power of those elephants, who are protectors of the planets and his own expansions. He does this to benefit all people and to maintain the worldly affairs created by his Yoga Maya. Then Aloka Varsha beyond Loka Loka mountain. The width of the land outside the Loka Loka mountain range, Aloka Varsha, is the same distance from Meru to the far edge of Loka Loka mountain. Beyond Aloka Varsha is the destination of those who aspire for liberation from this world, which is beyond the control of the three modes and completely pure. Note, Lord Krishna took Arjuna through this place to bring back the sons of the Brahman in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th canto. So that's this whole area. See, those are Loka Loka mountains, and there's Loka Varsha. All right, so these are outside the 6 islands of Bhumandal is the Golden Land, Loka Loka Mountain, Aloka Varsha, and then there's a free space. And then the universal covering, which is 7 layers, each 10 times thicker than the previous one, which is, what is it? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, ego, those are all the coverings. And then there's a destination of pure souls beyond the universal coverings. So after describing the horizontal structure of the universe, its vertical structure is now described. The glories of the sun. This is what we're going to read about today. The sun is in the middle of the universe. The sun is situated vertically in the area between Purloka and Bhuvarloka. The distance between the sun and the circumference of the universe is 250 my, vertically above and below. I'm sorry, I forgot this measurement system. I'm not good with that kind of stuff. And then there's the different names of the sun god: Vairaja, Martanda, and Hiranyagarbha. The sun allows divisions to be seen among the sky, the higher planets, the middle planets, and the lower planets. By it, one can know which are the places for enjoyment, liberation, and hell. Because of the sun's presence, all living entities can see, and therefore he is called Drig Ishwar. Thus he is the eye and life of all living beings, of the devatas, animals, humans, and reptiles, and plants. Okay, so we'll start now. Note, as indicated by Srila Vadiraj Tirtha in his book Bhugola Varnanam, the 7 islands with their surrounding oceans are not flat, but they take a terraced type of arrangement. This terraced type of Bhumandal will help us reconcile the descriptions of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam about the sun's movements in Uttarayan, the northern course, and Dakshinayan, the southern course. So the lower and upper halves of the universe. Okay, let's go there. Dandavat pranams, Rukmini Didi, and Madhavi Didi. Where are we? There. Movements of the sun. Chapter 21. This chapter informs us of the movements of the sun. The sun is not stationary, it is also moving like the other planets. The sun's movements determine the duration of night and day. When the sun travels north of the equator, it moves slowly during the day and very quickly at night, thus increasing the duration of the daytime and decreasing the duration of the night. Similarly, when the sun travels south of the equator, the exact opposite is true. The duration of the day decreases and the duration of night increases. When the sun enters Karkata Rashi, Cancer, and then travels to Singha Rashi, Leo, and so on, through Dhanu Rashi, Sagittarius, its course is called Dakshinayan, the southern way. And when the sun enters Makara Rashi, Capricorn, and thereafter travels through Kumbha Rashi, Aquarius, and so on, through Mithuna Rashi, Gemini, its course is called Uttarayan, the northern way. Sorry, I read that a little bit weird. When the sun is in Mesha Rashi, Aries, and Tula Rashi, Libra, the duration of day and night are equal. On Manasotar mountain are the abodes of 4 demigods. East of Sumeru mountain is Devadhani, where King Indra lives, and south of Sumeru is Samyami, the abode where Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, lives. Similarly, west of Sumeru is Nimlochani, the abode of Varuna, the demigod who controls the water. And north of Sumeru is Vibhavari, where the demigod of the moon lives. Sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight occur in all these places because of the movements of the sun. Diametrically opposite to the place where the sunrise takes place and the sun is seen by human eyes, the sun will be setting and passing away from human vision. Similarly, the people residing diametrically opposite to the point where it is midday will be experiencing midnight. The sun rises and sets with all the other planets, headed by the moon and other luminaries. The entire Kala Chakra, the wheel of time, is established on the wheel of the sun god's chariot. This wheel is known as Samvatsara. The 7 horses pulling the chariot of the sun are known as Gayatri, Brihati, Ushnik, Jagati, Trishtup, Anushtup, and Pankti. They are harnessed by a demigod known as Arunadev to yoke 900,000 yojanas wide. Thus the chariot carries Adityadev, the sun god. Always staying in front of the sun god and offering their prayers are 60,000 sages, known as the Vālikhilyas. Vālikhilyas. Sorry, guys. There are 14 Gandharvas, Apsaras, and other demigods, who are divided into 7 parties and who perform ritualistic activities every month to worship the Supersoul through the sun god according to different names. Thus, the sun god travels through the universe for a distance of 95,100,000 yojanas, that is, 760,800,000 miles, at the speed of 16,004 miles at every moment. Shri Shuka Uvacha Etavan eva bhu valayasya sannivesha pramana lakshanato vyakhyata. Shukadev Goswami said, "My dear king, I have thus far described the diameter of the universe, 50 crores of yojanas or 4 billion miles, and its general characteristics, according to the estimations of learned scholars." 2. Etena hi divo mandala manam tadvida upadishanti yatha dalayor nishpavadinam te antarenantariksham tar ubhaya sandhitam. As a grain of wheat is divided into 2 parts, one can estimate the size of the upper part by knowing that of the lower. So expert geographers instruct, one can understand the measurements of the upper part of the universe by knowing those of the lower part. The sky between the earthly sphere and the heavenly sphere is called antariksha, or outer space. It adjoins the top of the sphere of earth and the bottom of that of heaven. Okay. Yanmadhyagato bhagavangstaptam patistapana atapena triloking praktapatyavabhav sayatatma bhasa sa esha udagayana dakshinayana vaishuvata samgyabhir mandya shaigra samanadibhir samanabhir Gatibir arohana varohana samana staneshu yatha savanam padyamano makaradishu rashishvaho ratrani dirga rasva samanani vidate. In the midst of that region of outer space, Antariksha, is the most opulent sun, the king of all the planets that emanate heat, such as the moon. By the influence of its radiation, the sun heats the universe and maintains its proper order. It also gives light to help all living entities see. While passing toward the north, toward the south, or through the equator in accordance with the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is said to move slowly, swiftly, or moderately. According to its movements in rising above, going beneath, or passing through the equator, and correspondingly coming in touch with various signs of the zodiac, headed by Makar, Capricorn, days and nights are short, long, or equal to one another. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma prays in his Brahma Samhita 552, Yachakshuresha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja yasyagaya brahmati sambrita kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the world, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has unlimited potency in heat and light. Although the sun is described as Bhagavan, the most powerful, and although it is actually the most powerful planet within the universe, it nevertheless has to carry out the order of Govinda, Krishna. The sun god cannot deviate even an inch from the orbit designated to him. Therefore, in every sphere of life, the supreme order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is carried out. The entire material nature carries out his orders. However, we foolishly see the activities of material nature without understanding the supreme order and supreme person behind them. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dakshena Prakriti. That's chapter 9, verse 10. Material nature carries out the orders of the Lord, and thus everything is maintained in an orderly way. Sorry, give me a second here. All right. Okay. Yada mesha tulayor vartate tadaho ratrani samanani bhavanti yada vrishabhadishu panchasu rashishu charati tadahanyeva vardhante rasati chamasi masyakaika ghatika ratrishu. When the sun passes through Mesha, Aries, and Tula, Libra, the durations of day and night are equal. When it passes through the 5 signs headed by Vrishabha, Taurus, the duration of nights increases until Cancer. And then it gradually decreases by half an hour each month until day and night again become equal in Libra. Yada vrishchikadishu panchasu vartate tadaho ratrani viparyayani bhavanti. When the sun passes through the 5 signs beginning with Vrishchika, Scorpio, the duration of days decreases until Capricorn, and then gradually it increases month after month until day and night become equal in Aries. Yavad dakshinayanam ahani vardante yavad udagayanam ratraya. Until the sun travels to the south, the days grow longer, and until it travels to the north, the nights grow longer. What is that called? Is that called the solstices? Is the anyways. Evam nava kotaya eka panchashal lakshani yojananam Manasottara giri parvatana syopdishyanti tasmin aindrim purim purvasman meror devadhanam nama dakshinato yam yam samyamanim nama paschal varunim nimlochanim nama uttarata somyam vibhavarim nama tasudaya madhyanastamaya nishitaniti bhutanam pravritti nivritti nimittani samaya visheshena merosh chatur disham. Shukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, as stated before, the learned say that the sun travels over all sides of Manasottara mountain in a circle, whose length is 95,100,000 yojanas, 760,800,000 miles. On Manasottara mountain, due east of Mount Sumeru, is a place known as Devadhani, possessed by King Indra. Similarly, on the south is a place known as Samyamani, possessed by Yamaraj. In the west is a place known as Nimlochani, possessed by Varuna. And in the north is a place named Vibhavari, possessed by the moon god. Sunrise, midday, sunset, and midnight occur in all those places according to specific times, thus engaging all living entities in their various occupational duties and also making them cease such duties. Okay. Tatra Tyanam Divasa Madhyangata Eva Sadatityas Tapati Savyenachalam Dakshinena Karoti Yatrodeti Tasya Hasamana Sutra Nipate Nimlochati Yatra Kvachana Syandhenapitapati Tasya Haisha Samana Sutra Nipate Prasvapayati tatra gatam na pashyanti te ye tam samanupasheran. The living entities residing on Sumeru mountain are always very warm, as at midday. Because for them the sun is always overhead. Although the sun moves counterclockwise, facing the constellations, with Sumeru mountain on its left, it also moves clockwise and appears to have the mountain on its right, because it is influenced by the Dakshinavarta wind. People living in countries at points diametrically opposite to where the sun is first seen rising will see the sun setting, and if a straight line were drawn from a point where the sun is at midday, the people in countries at the opposite end of the line will be experiencing midnight. Similarly, if people residing where the sun is setting were to go to countries diametrically opposite, they would not see the sun in the same condition. Yada Chaindra Purya Prachalate Panchadasha Ghatikabhir Yam Yam Sapada Koti Dvayam Yojanam Sarda Dvadasha Lakshani Sadikani Chopayati. When the sun travels from Devadhani, the residence of Indra, to Samyami, the residence of Yamaraj, it travels 23,775,000 yojanas, that is 190,200,000 miles, and 15 gatikas, or 6 hours. Purport. The distance indicated by the word sadikani is Pancha Vinkshati Sahasradikani, or 25,000 yojanas. That plus 2.5 crores and 12.5 lakshas of yojanas is the distance that the sun travels between each two cities. This comes to 25,775,000 yojanas, or 190,200,000 miles. The total orbit of the sun is 4 times that distance, or 95,100,000 yojanas, that is 760,800,000 miles. Evam tato varunim somyam aindrim chapunas tatanye cha graha samadayo nakshatrai saha jyotish chakre samabhyudhyanti saha va nimlo chanti. From the residence of Yamaraj, the sun travels to Nimlochani, the residence of Varuna. From there to Vibhavari, the residence of the moon god. So from there to Vibhavari, the residence of the moon god, and from there again to the residence of Indra. In a similar way, the moon, along with the other stars and planets, becomes visible in the celestial sphere, and then sets again and becomes invisible. Oh God. In a similar way, the moon, along with the other stars and planets, becomes visible in the celestial sphere, and then sets again and becomes invisible. Okay, whatever. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 10:21, Krishna says, Nakshatranam aham shashi. Of the stars, I am the moon. This indicates that the moon is similar to the other stars. The Vedic literature informs us that within this universe, there is one sun, which is moving. The Western theory that all the luminaries in the sky are different suns is not confirmed in the Vedic literature. Nor can we assume that these luminaries are the suns of other universes, for each universe is covered by various layers of material elements, and therefore, although the universes are clustered together, we cannot see from one universe to another. In other words, whatever we see is within one universe. In each universe, there is one Lord Brahma, and there are other demigods on other planets, but there is only one sun. Evam muhurtena chatustringshal laksha yojananyashta shatadikani soro rathas traimayo so chatasrishu parivartate purishu. Thus the chariot of the sun god, which is Traimai, are worshipped by the words Om Pur Bhuva Sva, travels through the four residences mentioned above at the speed of 3,400,800 yojanas, that is, 27,206,400 miles, in a muhurta, in a moment. Not a moment. What is exact? Muhurta is not a moment. It is a moment. Yasyakam chakram dvadasharam shannemi trinabhi samvatsaratmakam samamananti tasyaksho meror murdhani krito manasotare kritetara bhago yatra pratam ravi ratha chakram taila yantra chakrabar brahman manasotara giro paribhramati. The chariot of the sun god has only one wheel, which is known as Samvatsara. The 12 months are calculated to be its 12 spokes. The 6 seasons are the sections of its rim, and the 3 Chaturmasya periods are its 3-sectioned hub. One knight of the axle carrying the wheel rests upon the summit of Mount Sumeru, and the other rests upon Manasotara mountain. Affixed to the outer end of the axle, the wheel continuously rotates on Manasotar mountain like the wheel of an oil pressing machine. And there's a chart here. Actually, no. Let's read this verse 14 first. Tasmin akshe krita mulo dityo kshas turyamanena samitas taila yantrakshavar dhruve krito paribhaga. As in an oil pressing machine, the first axle is attached to a second axle, which is 1/4 as long, 3,937,500 yojanas, or 31,500,000 miles. The upper end of the second axle is attached to Dhruvaloka by a rope of wind. Okay, so there's a chart for this. Where is it? Wait, this is chapter 22, or chapter 21. There. All right, so there's Manasotara Mountain, Sun God's chariot wheel, Mount Sumeru, and then Drupaloka. Anyhow, you see this chart. Oh God, I'm so not good with all this stuff. Okay. Rata nidastu shat tringshal laksha yojanayatas tat turiya bhaga vishalas tavan ravi rata yugo yatra hayash chando namana saptaruna yojita vahanti devam adityam. My dear king, the carriage of the sun god's chariot is estimated to be 3,600,000 yojanas, that is, 28,800,000 miles long, and 1/4 as wide, 900,000 yojanas, or 7,200,000 miles. The chariot's horses, which are named after Gayatri and other Vedic meters, are harnessed by Arunadev to yoke that side. It's harnessed by Arunadev, that's the sun god, to a yoke that is also 900,000 yojanas wide. This chariot continuously carries the sun god. Right? Isn't Arunadev the sun god? Anyways, doesn't matter. Udila Aruna. Oh no, wait. Aruna. Anyways, whatever. Purport. In the Vishnu Puran, it is stated. No, there's a difference between Aruna and Surya. Suryadoy and Arunadoy. Aruna, yeah, okay. Sorry, so Aruna is the chariot driver. Okay. Because Suryadoy means when the sun rises and it's visible, but Arunadoy is when the rays of the sun is visible. It's like, so it's before you can actually see the sun and the sky starts to become bright. That's Arunadoy. Okay. Purport. In the Vishnu Puran, it is stated, Gayatri cha brihatushnig jagati trishtupevacha anushtup panktirit ittuktas chandangshi harayorave. The 7 horses yoked to the sun god's chariot are named Gayatri, Brihati, Ushnik, Jagati, Trishtup, Anushtup, and Pankti. Hey, these are names of different meters, different chandas. Anushtup, Trishtup, Jagati. I don't know the other ones, but yeah. These names of various, oops, I just said it right here. These names of various Vedic meters designate the 7 horses that carry the sun god's chariot. We can look at, anyways, never mind. Anushtupa is all the Bhagavad Gita verses. Trishtupas are the verses that are like da 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 da. And Jagati, what's Jagati? Anyways, yeah, it's in the back of the Gaudiya Gita Gucha. Purastat savitur aruna paschatcha niyukta sote karmani kilaste. Although Arunadev sits in front of the sun god and is engaged in driving the chariot and controlling the horses, he looks backward toward the sun god. Okay, yeah, so Arunadev is the charioteer. Purport. In the Vayu Puran, the position of the horses is described. Saptashva Rupa Chandangshi Vahante Vamato Ravim Chakra Paksha Nibadani Chakre Vaksha Samahita. Although Arunadev is in the front seat, controlling the horses, he looks back towards the sun god from his left side. Tata Vālikhilyas Rishayo Angushto Parva Matra Shashti Sahasrani Purata Suryam Sukta Vakaya Niyukta Sangstuvanti. There are 60,000 saintly persons named the Vālikhilyas, each the size of a thumb, who are located in front of the sun god and who offer him eloquent prayers of glorification. That's interesting. So each the size of the thumb, and they're in front of the sun god. Okay. Tatanye charishayo kandarvapsaraso naga gramanyo yatu dhana deva ittekaikasho gana sapta chaturdasha masi bhagavantam suryam atmanam nana namanam pritang nana namana pritak karmabhir dvandvadasha upasate. Similarly, 14 other saints, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Nagas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and demigods, who are divided into groups of two, assume different names every month and continuously perform different ritualistic ceremonies to worship the Supreme Lord as the most powerful demigod Suryadev, who holds many names. Okay. Purport. In the Vishnu Purana it is said, Stuvanti munaya suryam gandhavargiyate pura nrityanto sarasoyanti suryasanu nishachara vahanti panaga yakshay kriyate vishu sangraha Vālikhilyas tataivainam parivarya samasate Soyam sapta gana surya mandale muni sattama himoshna varivrishtinam hetutve samayam kata. Worshipping the most powerful demigod Surya, the Gandharvas sing in front of him, the Apsaras dance before the chariot, the Nishacharas follow the chariot, the Panagas decorate the chariot, the Yakshas guard the chariot, and the saints called the Vālikhilyas surround the sun god and offer prayers. The 7 groups of 14 associates arrange the proper times for regular snow, heat, and rain throughout the universe. Lakshotaram Sarda Navakoti Yojana Parimandalam Bhuvalayasya Kshanena Saga Vyutyutaram Dvi Sahasra Yojanani Sabhunkte. My dear king, in his orbit through Bhumandal, the sun god traverses a distance of 95,100,000 yojanas, that is 760,800,000 miles, at the speed of 2,000 yojanas and 2 kroshas, 16,004 miles in a moment. Right. So we're just going to start this chapter, 22. Oh man, this part is all difficult for me. I'm not very good with anyhow. It doesn't matter. The orbits of the planets, chapter 22. In this chapter, the orbits of the planets are described. According to the movements of the moon and other planets, all the inhabitants of the universe are prone to auspicious and inauspicious situations. This is referred to as the influence of the stars. The sun god, who controls the affairs of the entire universe, especially in regard to heat, light, seasonal changes, and so on, is considered an expansion of Narayan. He represents the 3 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, and Sama, and therefore he is known as Trayimay, the form of Lord Narayan. Sometimes the sun god is also called Surya Narayan. The sun god has expanded himself in 12 divisions, and thus he controls the 6 seasonal changes and causes winter, summer, rain, and so on. Yogis and karmis following the Varnashram institution who practice Hatha or Ashtanga yoga or who perform Agnihotra sacrifices worship Surya Narayan for their own benefit. The demigod Surya is always in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. Residing in outer space, which is in the middle of the universe between Bhuloka and Bhuvarloka, the sun rotates through the time circle of the zodiac, represented by 12 rashis or signs, and assumes different names according to the sign he is in. For the moon, every month is divided into 2 fortnights. Similarly, according to solar calculations, a month is equal to the time the sun spends in one constellation. 2 months constitute one season, and there are 12 months in a year. The entire area of the sky is divided into two halves, each representing an ayan, the course traversed by the sun within a period of 6 months. And so ayan means solstice, I guess, right? Summer solstice and winter solstice. Anyways, the sun travels sometimes slowly, sometimes swiftly, and sometimes at a moderate speed. In this way, it travels within the three worlds consisting of the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and outer space. These orbits are referred to by great learned scholars by the names Samvatsara, Parivatsara, and Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. The moon is situated 100,000 yojanas above the rays of the sunshine. Day and night on the heavenly planets and Pitriloka are calculated according to its waning and waxing. Above the moon, by a distance of 200,000 yojanas, are some stars, and above these stars is Shukra Graha, Venus, whose influence is always auspicious for the inhabitants of the entire universe. Above Shukra Graha, by 200,000 yojanas, is Buddha Graha, Mercury, whose influence is sometimes auspicious and sometimes inauspicious. Next, above Buddha Graha, by 200,000 yojanas, is Angaraka, Mars, which almost always has an unfavorable influence. Above Angaraka, by another 200,000 yojanas, is the planet called Brihaspati Graha, Jupiter, which is always very favorable for qualified Brahmins. I just came out of my Jupiter period. Which is above Brihaspati Graha is the planet Shanishchar, Saturn, which is very inauspicious. And above Saturn is a group of 7 stars occupied by great saintly persons who are always thinking of the welfare of the entire universe. These 7 stars circumambulate Dhruvaloka, which is the residence of Lord Vishnu within this universe. We have 6 minutes left. Okay, let's just read these couple verses, I guess. Rajovacha yad itar bhagavata adityasya merum dhruvam cha pradakshinena parikramato rashinam avimukam prachalitam cha pradakshinam bhagavato pavarnitam amushya vayam katam anumimahiti. Whatever. King Pariksha inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, "My dear Lord, you have already affirmed the truth that the supremely powerful sun god travels around Dhruvaloka with both the Dhruvaloka and Mount Sumeru on his right. Yet, at the same time, the sun god faces the signs of the zodiac and keeps Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on his left. How can we reasonably accept that the sun god proceeds with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on both his left and right simultaneously?" Sahovacha yata kulala chakrena brahmata saha brahmatam tad ashayanam pipilikadinam gatir anyaiva pradeshantareshva apyupalabhyamanatvad evam nakshatra rashibhir upalakshitena kala chakrena dhruvam merum cha pradakshinena paridhavata saha paridhavamananam tar ashayanam suryadinam grahanam gatir anyaiva naksharatrantare rashyantare chopalabhyamanatvat. Shri Shukadeva Goswami clearly answered, "When a potter's wheel is moving and small ants located on that big wheel are moving with it, one can see that their motion is different from that of the wheel because they appear sometimes on one part of the wheel and sometimes on another. Similarly, the signs and constellations with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on the right move with the wheel of time, and the ants-like sun and other planets move with them. The sun and planets, however, are seen in different signs and constellations at different times. This indicates that their motion is different from that of the zodiac and the wheel of time itself." how much time do we have? 3 minutes. So Esha Bhagavan Adi Purusha Eva Shakshan Narayana Lokanam Swastaya Atmanam Traimayam Karma Vishuddhi Nimitam Kavibir Api Chavedena Vijigyasyamano Dadashadha Vibhajya Shatsu Vasantadish Ritushu Yatopa Josham Ritu Gunan Vidadhati. The original cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. When great saintly persons, fully aware of Vedic knowledge, offered prayers to the Supreme Person, he descended to this material world in the form of the sun to benefit all the planets and purify fruitive activities. He divided himself into 12 parts and created seasonal forms, beginning with spring. In this way, he created the seasonal qualities, such as heat, cold, and so on. Tam etam iha purushas traya vidyaya vanashamacharanupata uchavachai karmabhir amnatar yogapitanaish chasradhaya yajantonjasa shreya samadhi gachanti. According to the system of 4 varnas and 4 ashrams, people generally worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, who is situated as the sun god. With great faith, they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a supersoul, according to ritualistic ceremonies handed down in the 3 Vedas, such as Agnihotra and similar higher and lower fruitive acts, and according to the process of mystic yoga. In this way, they very easily attain the ultimate goal of life. A lot from what my dad said, because he edited the Vedic encyclopedia, like the official Vedic encyclopedia, and so there's so much about the 4 Vedas, and according to him, it seems like a big majority of the Vedas is all about the sun god, and also Indra, and also Soma juice. Ata sa esha atma lokanam dyav aprittivyor antarena nabho valayasya kala chakra gato dvadasha masan bhunkte rashi samgyan samvatsarayvayavam masa paksha dvayam diva naktam cheti sapadarksha dvayam upadishanti yavata shashtam angsham Punjita Savaya Ritur Ityupadishyate Samvatsaraya Vayava. Samvatsaraya Vayava. The sun god, who is Narayan or Vishnu, the soul of all the worlds, is situated in outer space between the upper and lower portions of the universe. Passing through the 12 months on the wheel of time, the sun comes in touch with 12 different signs of the zodiac and assumes 12 different names according to those signs. The aggregate of those 12 months is called Samvatsara, or an entire year. According to lunar calculations, 2 fortnights, one of the waxing moon and the other of the waning, form 1 month. That same period is 1 day and night for the planet Pitriloka. According to stellar calculations, a month equals 2 1/4 constellations. When the sun travels for 2 months, a season passes, and therefore the seasonal changes are considered parts of the body of the year. All right, it is 8 o'clock now, just turned 8. But could I just read these next 2 verses? It'll just take me a minute. We'll be a minute over, and then we'll be on track. Atha chayyavatardhena nabho vityang pracharati tankalam ayanam achakshate. Thus the time the sun takes to rotate through half of outer space is called an ayan, or its period of movement in the north or in the south. Ata cha yavan nabho mandalam sahadyav aprittivyor mandalabhyam kartsnena saha bhunjita tankalam samvatsaram parivatsaram ida vatsaram anuvatsaram vatsaram iti bhanor mandya shaighra samagatibhi samamananti. The sun god has 3 speeds: slow, fast, and moderate. The time he takes to travel entirely around the spheres of heaven, earth, and space at these 3 speeds is referred to by learned scholars by the 5 names Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. Purport. According to solar astronomical calculations, each year extends 6 days beyond the calendar year, and according to lunar calculations, each year is 6 days shorter. Therefore, because of the movements of the sun and moon, there's a difference of 12 days between the solar and lunar years. As the Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsar pass by, 2 extra months are added within each 5 years. This makes a 6th Samvatsara. But because the Samvatsara is extra, the solar system is calculated according to the above 5 names. Oh man, okay. Tomorrow we'll read about the movements and glories of the moon and a description of the stars above the moon. That's all tomorrow. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Oh, Muhurta is 48 minutes. Yeah, okay. Of course. The sun is a unicyclist. Yep, the sun is a unicyclist and this is its wheel. Alright. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shatashwar Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shatashwar Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shatashwar Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shatashwar Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupada Shatara Shatashwar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shara Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashta Krishna Bhakti Paradevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Surya Dev Ki Jai. So we have this much left over, and then we're finished with the 5th canto. I think we should finish that within a week, or less than a week. Less than a week. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining me, even though I was not following what was going on most of the time, and so that's why my reading was not so smooth and clear. But yeah, this isn't really my area, but we'll be through it soon. And if anybody wants a PDF for this book, Bhagavat Subodhini, let me know and I can send it to you, and then you can get a better understanding. All right, Haribo, Dandavat Pranam Zurkamini Didi and Rup Manjari Didi, Pradumna Prabhu, everybody else, Madhavi Didi, Viseshwari Mataji, everybody else that's there. Champak Didi, Haribo. Ganga Didi, Haribo.